welcome in. Today on HHS-TV, we're covering Science Olympiad's win in a record-breaking fashion, the Harriton Student Council election results, with President-elect and Vice President-elect live from the studio, and furniture in the JSL. Live from the Harriton High School television studio in Rosemont, Pennsylvania, this is the Ram Report with Ben Feldman and Tasul Kim.
Hello, I'm Ben Feldman.
Along with Tasul Kim.
For today's RAM Report, advisory teachers should hand out day of service permission forms now and write down students' shirt sizes. We'll get to the Student Council general election in a second, but we begin today with some exciting Harriton news. At the state competition, the Harriton Science Olympiad team won in literally unprecedented fashion. They medaled in every single event, never lower than 4th place, capturing 14 gold medals. With a sub-40 score, Harriton now has the record for best score, not just in the state, but as far as we know, in any state. Be sure to congratulate the entire Science Olympiad team for their amazing performance.
We now continue on with the election. On Friday, the candidates for Student Council gave speeches to you live in the auditorium. Voting closed Tuesday, and the results are as follows. For President, Emma Dans. For Vice President, Jack Mendelson. For Secretary, Ben Feldman. For Treasurer, Olivia Ebner. And for Sergeant at Arms, Lauren Levy. As a special RAM Report segment, we now go live to President-elect Dans and Vice President-elect Mendelson in their first address to the student body.
I'm Emma Dans, your President-elect.
And I'm Jack Mendelson, your Vice President-elect.
Although the other officers are not here with us. I speak for all of us when I say that we are all thrilled and grateful to be representing you in the coming year.
We would also like to thank the outgoing officers for the great job that they did this year running Student Council, and we're glad to be following in their footsteps.
And we're incredibly excited for what the next year will bring, so get excited with us.
Back to you, Ben. And Sue.
Thanks, Emma and Jack. It'll be a pleasure to work with you this upcoming year. We now continue the show with news about Harriton's furniture. Many students have noticed that there used to be furniture in the JSL, and new proposals have been raised as to the possibility of new furniture. For more on the story, we turn to Max Harris.
Max Harris reporting for HHS-TV in the auditorium of Harriton High School, where Mr. Weinstein has just announced plans to add new furniture to several areas of the Harriton High School for lunch and learn activities.
I'm going to show it to our staff later at the faculty meeting. This is the stuff that we're ordering to try to upgrade the collaborative spaces. That's going to go in the corners where there's no stuff by the windows, and in the middle is going to be this cool rise area. Oh, thank you. If you didn't like it, I was going to say Mr. Johnson picked it out.
Mr. Weinstein announced the plans for the new furniture during a 9th grade assembly on April 3rd. He stated that the new furniture will be going in places such as underneath the staircase in the Harriton lobby and also on the 2nd floor common space. Mr. Weinstein was interviewed after the assembly by HHS-TV's Noah Salmonson.
Lunch and learn model is where we allow students to work, and since we have all 1,230 students at once going to different areas of the building, we think it's important that they have areas that are suitable to do work and utilize the collaborative spaces. So we're looking at upgrading some of those areas and putting some more furniture in places to have students be able to use that space and make good use of their time.
Mr. Weinstein has not announced the exact arrival date of the new furniture. However, it is believed to be that the furniture will arrive at some point in the 2018-2019 school year. This is Max Harris reporting for HHS-TV. Now back to the news desk.
To recap,
Thanks,
in the old
we
Harriton
now
and Lower
continue
Marion.
on with one of Ricky's last reports, part 4 of his Enrollment Growth series, focusing on the church at Welsh Valley.
To recap, in the old Harriton and Lower Marion high schools, there is a large difference in the student populations, as District Operations Director Pat Gannan explained to me.
There were roughly 1,600 students at Lower Marion High School and about 800 students at Harriton.
This drastic difference in student populations meant that at the old Harriton, the smaller school, students weren't able to take the same classes as their LM counterparts. Classes they wanted to take either ran at a lesser frequency or simply didn't run at all because of a lack of demand, which more specifically affected electives. The schools simply were not equal in what they offered to students. That's why in the late 2000s, the district built 2 new high schools that were said to be equal in size at 1,250 students. The school board agreed that the main reason they wanted to have 2 equal high schools was to ensure an equalized educational experience. The board went as far to say that having the schools be equal in size was a non-negotiable. The problem was that just as the schools were being built, enrollment unexpectedly rose. It meant that the two new high schools that had just been built hadn't been built large enough. Instead of building more classrooms onto both schools to handle additional enrollment, the district decided to only add capacity at Lower Merion, as adding classrooms there could be done at a lesser price than an expansion at Harriton. The district allowed for students which had previously been assigned to go to Harriton the option of going to Lower Merion. Many students exercised this option. This alleviated some of the pressure at Harriton. But it doesn't fix Harriton's enrollment problem. This year, the school reached 1,250 students, which is the very amount the school is intended to hold. Over the years, though, the district has found ways to stretch the number of students it can hold.
Things have changed, plus there was a lot of flexibility built into the new high schools. The superintendent, Dr. McGinley, his thought was that the way they were built, they could handle easily up to 1,400 students. At Lower Merion High School, we're about 1,440 right now. But as you know, we just completed some renovation work in the old administration building.
This brings me back to the idea of equal enrollment and equal programming, which is something that was stressed so much by the school board when they last redistricted. Currently, Lower Merion is projected to have at most 300 more students than Harriton as a result of enrollment growth and the expansion of the choice zone. I went to Superintendent Copeland to find out if they still thought that they can keep programming equal when there will be such a large difference in student count between the schools.
Are you and the district committed to keeping programming equal at both high schools, and how can you do that if you're going to have so many more students at one high school?
Well, programming and opportunities outside of some experiences are equal, but Lower Merion doesn't have an IB, so there are some differences that have existed, and some kids have a choice and other kids don't have a choice. The thinking right now, and again, the board is really doing deep contemplation on this, but the thinking right now is to maintain the current ratios, which has Lower Merion larger than Harriton, but keeping the programs the same, meaning you can get the same AP courses that you can at both schools. You're going to have similar kinds of experiences. Sometimes electives shift a little bit because of student demand. If for some reason kids want a course in Harriton and they don't want it in Lower Merion, you'll see minor differences like that.
My next video will focus on how enrollment has affected the elementary and middle schools. But for now, reporting for HHS TV, I am Ricky Reports.
And now we go live to Nick in the studio with sports. Nick?
Thanks, guys. After beating Strathaven 10-1 yesterday, it was yet another strong outing for pitcher Jonah Frankel. Harriton girls lacrosse is 8-3 after a 19-5 win against rivals Lower Merion. Max Prep has the girls ranked as the 14th best team in Pennsylvania, a strong showing from them so far. Narberth Rugby beat LaSalle High School 54-0, and division opponent Coventry 57-20, and are now 10-1 on the season, and they can clinch a spot in the state playoffs with a home win this Sunday against Westchester. Transitioning into national sports news, the NFL draft took place in Philadelphia this year. I attended day 2, and I do believe it was the greatest draft for NFL fans ever. The draft I admired the most this year was clearly the Cleveland Browns, who I believe drafted the two most talented prospects in Myles Garrett and Jabril Peppers. Besides Cleveland, I believe the Eagles and Redskins also had really good drafts. Not just bias, really do believe that. Speaking of the Eagles draft, our own athletic director, Mr. Ferguson, got to help announce their 5th-round selection of Shelton Gibson. Here is the video of that.
What's up, Philly? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I'm Morris Chestnut, and I'm here with 2 season ticket holders, Tom Ferguson and Al Hoffman. With the 166th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Shelton Gibson, wide receiver from West Virginia.
Ricky had an interview, but we don't have the interview. Thanks, Ricky, for that video, though. Back to the news desk.
Thanks, Nick. That'll be all for today's show. Signing off, this is Sol Kim.
And Ben Feldman.
From all of us here at HHS TV, thanks for watching the Ram Report.